Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It is so lovely to have you here today. Thank you so much for joining. My name is Samantha and I am the knitter and knitwear designer behind the account The Stricka Chick. So this is a bit of a not regularly scheduled podcast episode because I just kind of wanted to do a little unboxing video for you guys. So earlier this year, Hobbii Yarn contacted me and they asked if I would be interested in potentially designing a sweater for them, which was really, really cool. It felt nice to have someone reach out to me and kind of commission some of my work, which was really cool. And so I submitted a pitch for their Ginger and Holly campaign, which will be their Christmas design series that goes out towards the end of the year in 2023, I believe. And they liked it, so they asked me what yarn I would need for the design, and then they sent it to me. So I have just received, if I can pull it up here to show you, it's very crinkly. I've just received this huge bag of yarn from Hobbii that I will show you what I got and tell you a little bit about what I intend to design with it. So Hobbii, it's not a new company to me. I have bought from them before. I actually designed my Adams Morgan sweater that I am wearing right now using their Tweed Delight in the shade Pink Confetti. And I will link that pattern in the description below in case you're interested in knitting your own. I think it's actually quite springy. For those of you who are new here, first of all, so happy to have you. Please go ahead and subscribe for more. But I live in a place called Tromsø, which is a city in the Arctic Circle of Norway. And up here, our spring has been very, very cold so far. So we still have snow on the ground. It actually snowed every single day at the beginning of May. And it's still like, I think today it's 6 degrees Celsius, but it's not super duper warm. So yeah, sweater weather in the spring. And I think with a nice pastel-y color like this, it's still quite springy. And then aside from designing my own patterns, I've also knit in Hobbii yarn for gift knitting. If you follow my podcast, you would have seen last year, I knit these stuffies, like these little stuffed animals from the Robin Octopus and Friends book by Claire Gelder. I knit a little unicorn for my niece and a Highland cow for my nephew. And those were knit in Hobbii Amigo Chunky, which is like a very thick acrylic yarn that's meant to be used on 7mm needles, which is what I used to knit them up. So this will be my third package from Hobbii, and I am really, really excited to get started on it, and I am going to check it out at the same time as you so I can just tell you my initial thoughts on the yarn that they sent me, and maybe share a little bit about what I'm thinking of doing for the design for them. So let's see here in my little bag of treats. Okay, first off we have some Friends Extra Fine Merino in the shade, I think this is Off-White. It's their colorway 02. And this bag is going to go on the floor because it's really hard for me to balance this bag and balance the yarn and talk to you. And oh, there we go. Figured it out. Okay, so this is Superwash Merino. It is, I think it's a very fine weight. It's 100% wool. There are 165 meters in a 50-gram skein, so they classify it as fine. So I think that's like a little bit thicker than fingering, but not that much thicker. And then they ask you to use 3 to 3.5mm needles on it, and they tell you that in a gauge swatch, 10 centimeters to 10 centimeters in stockinette, you get 26 stitches and 34 rows. Washing instructions, you're supposed to wash it in 40 degrees. It looks like, I don't know if it's hand wash only, but it does say 40 degrees. So I would assume it's machine wash. But yeah, it feels really, really soft, really, really nice. It actually doesn't feel as like, I don't know, certain superwash yarns, like I've used Drops Charisma in the past, and that has like, you can really tell it's a superwash yarn, but this actually does not feel that way. It feels really, really nice. and I am really excited to get started working with it. This will be, I have quite a few skeins in this color, so that will be kind of the majority of the main body of the sweater. So I'm going to dump that here, and I also have some Friends Kid Silk. So I really like their Friends line. So when I submitted my design proof to them, I also had to kind of let them know what yarns I wanted to knit with. And I suggested the Friends yarns because I love the color matching on them. I think they just have such a wide range of colors that you can really get anything you're looking for, and then get the standard like holding mohair with a follow thread of merino, which is really nice. So yeah, I picked up Kid Silk to hold with. I'll just show you them color matching here, which is pretty nice. Yeah, so I'm holding the Kid Silk with the extra fine merino, and this is also the colorway 02, which is off-white. It's lace weight, which makes sense. And then there's 25 grams and 200 meters in each skein. And it's 72% mohair, 25% silk, and 3% wool, which is quite interesting because I've never seen a mohair silk blend that also contains wool before, so that's really neat. And you're supposed to use it on 4 to 4.5 millimeter needles. I think that's typically something that people suggest for Kid Silk. But because I'm planning on holding these together, I will be swatching on 4.5 millimeter needles and 5 millimeter needles and see which one looks better. I'm thinking of doing like a cable and rib type alternating design, the two of them. So yes, that is the plan. And along with those two, I am going to hold this. So the Ginger and Holly campaign, it's supposed to be very kind of festive. It's supposed to be Christmassy. So they were really looking for Christmassy colors. They were looking for sparkle. They said they wanted like color work or intarsia. And so I figured it would be nice to hold like a little gold follow thread in a project, because then you could get like a little bit of a more festive cable knit sweater. Or you could forego it if you choose, you know, not to make it sparkly, which is totally fair play. But I've never actually knit with a strand of glitter before, so I'm excited to see how this works up. This is their Go Handmade Glitter Deluxe, and it says add a touch of shine and glamour to your project, which is quite cute. It's the color gold, and this is a 100 gram cone. So you have approximately 6,000 meters in this. So I don't think I'll run out of gold follow thread in this project. And you're supposed to wash it at 40 degrees. I don't think I'll be washing the sweater at 40 degrees just because I do have the Kid Silk. So you can't, I mean, obviously you can't put Kid Silk mohair through a 40 degree program. But yeah, this, if you were just to hold it alone with the extra fine merino, I think it would be a 40 degree machine wash type situation. It's 100% polyester. And it's kind of like, it has this plasticky wrap on it that I'm not going to really take off for you at the moment, because I think that would just be way too squeaky for my microphone to handle. But yeah, I'm really excited to swatch this up and see how it looks in combination with the other yarns. I think it's going to be really nice, because you have this little bit of a like mohair fluff halo that's going to show up, and then, you know, the stability that you get through the merino, and then just a little bit of shine. And that's going to be the main body of the sweater, is these three held together. And that's why I was thinking like 5 millimeter needle maybe is what I'm going to go for with these together. So I forgot to tell you a little bit about what the Kid Silk feels like, because I know it's always interesting to see what Kid Silk mohairs feel like, just because there's so much diversity. Like, you wouldn't think there's that much diversity. But if you follow the Knit Pro Girl on Instagram, she's done like a whole review of all the different mohairs on the UK market. And you can see that, like, okay, yeah, they're the same weight. They all kind of look pretty similar, but the feel is so different. And you can kind of tell quality-wise. And I think the Hobbii Friends is on the cheaper end of the spectrum. So I'm not entirely sure what the cost is, but I can drop that down in the description below. I will link to all of these yarns in case you're interested in trying any of them out. So this actually, it feels quite nice. It looks, I mean, it looks a bit sheddy, but I think that's just mohair. It's got a nice little glint to it. It's not like overly glossy, but it is like a little bit shimmery. I don't know. I don't think it's it doesn't feel acrylic. It doesn't feel, I mean, it is 100% natural fibers, but it doesn't have that same kind of sticky feeling that I've heard some negative reviews for like Hobbii Diablo, that kind of stuff, because there is some synthetic fiber mixed in there. But this doesn't feel like it. Like, this feels like nice kid silk mohair. It's about the same caliber as Drops Kid Silk mohair, if you've tried that. I think it's just Drops Kid Silk. But it doesn't feel like, you don't have the same level of luxury as like Knitting for Olive, for example. But I don't think you would expect that at the price point. So it's a really, really nice, budget-friendly, still really like, you know, it's a kid silk mohair. It feels like one. It feels like it's like good quality, but it doesn't feel like it's like premium, which I don't think it's supposed to be. So that's really nice. And it's made in Italy, apparently. So yes. Okay. And then I just want to show you my contrast colors, because I have a lot of these mohair and merino skeins in white. Oop. And there goes the bag. But, oh, and I didn't even pick up the right color. Oh no. Okay, I'll just show you this first and then we can go fishing for the other color. So this is my contrast color that I picked up for my cable sweater. It's the same wool. It's extra fine merino in the shade Burgundy, I believe. It's the colorway hidden from me currently, but we'll fish it out. It's the colorway 49. So I think it's like a Bordeaux burgundy. It's a very like wine red color, which is exactly what I wanted to go for, because I thought it was a very like, I think this is the most classy holiday color. It's like, you know, it's the color of glug. It's like, which is Scandinavian mulled wine. It's like, it's a very, it's like a grown-up Christmas color. It's the color of like, yeah, of wine, of, you know, slightly saturated, not mistletoe, but like, I don't know, like cranberries. Yeah, it's really nice. And I figured I would use that as like a little accent color along the ribbing, like a little stripe along the ribbing on both my, my collar and the bottom ribbing and the sleeve ribbing of the sweater that I'm going to design for them. So I feel like this color is very true to what it looked like on the screen, which is nice. And it is kind of, it's what I was going for. I didn't want anything that was like too purple. I didn't want anything that was too red. And I think this is the perfect midpoint and a really, really nice Christmas color. So I'm going to be holding this with with this, which is the Friends Kid Silk in the colorway 49 as well. And this is what I mean by color matching. Like, I think they've done a really, oh, I'm showing you the bands. I think they've done a really good job of matching the colors here. Because there's the same colorway, so you would expect there to be a little bit of matching. And yeah, it's really, really nicely done. And same info on this as for the white mohair. But I think it's interesting to see, like, you have this, right, which is like a really pale white mohair, and then you have like a darker one, and it's kind of interesting to see like how they have dyed the mohair and like how the mohair takes to dyeing. And I think it does really, really well. Like here, obviously you have a little bit of a glowing silk core, but the silk core has picked up the dye really well. You don't see a lot of white along, and I think that is really, really nice, because that can like make a sweater look a little bit, I don't know, just like low budget if the dye, like if the something is wrong with the core and the dye doesn't stick to it properly, and then I don't know, it just kind of, it doesn't look so nice, I think. But this is actually really, really nice. Ooh, I like this. Yeah, so I will be holding these together as the contrast, and then these along with the gold that I can't hold in my hand because it is very, very big, as the main color. And this will be my little still unnamed cable sweater. So that is all that I got from them, but I just wanted to explain a little bit about how designing for Hobbii works. I have seen on Instagram that there's a little bit of a push in the market of knitwear designing and kind of YouTubing and how we earn money from it, and kind of what that market looks like. And I think it differs kind of based on who exactly is offering you a collaboration or a commission or whatever. But the way that Hobbii does it is that they own the exclusive rights to your pattern once you produce it, and what they give you in return is they provide the yarn for you, and then they agree on a price that they're going to pay you when you finish the design. So they have a timeline in place for you. So they say, okay, you need to post this number of times on social media. So I will be doing that on my Instagram, and then tagging them in it so they can see. And then you also have to call for testers, and they'll kind of help you out and promote your stuff for you. And then eventually when the design is done, you take photographs, you fill in, they have like a pattern template for you as a designer, you fill that in, and then you send that to them, and then they send you what they have promised to pay you. And then I know there are some publications, like for example, if you submit to like Lane magazine or something like that, they retain the publication rights for a year, and then you get them returned to you. Hobbii doesn't do that. So they keep the rights, but then they also pay you a chunk. So for me, a lot of anxiety in designing is actually promoting the patterns once they're out. So I think that's really, really stressful. And I was like, someone's going to do that for me and then pay me for it, sure. But yeah, I think, yeah, that was pretty transparent. Because I did want to be clear about, like, you know, it's not sponsored, but this is what they're paying me to do this. Yeah, but it's interesting. I'm excited, like, I'm not excited, that's the wrong word. I'm interested in hearing from other YouTubers or knitwear designers about like how you monetize what you do. Because this isn't my full-time job, but I know a lot of people it is. And that's always kind of like, I don't know, it feels like a bit of a success story. It's like, oh, tell me how you did it. But like, obviously it's so kind of volatile how you would get your income. So it's, yeah, it's a bit kind of, I don't know, people don't really talk very openly about it, but it is interesting. So yes, that rant aside, this is the yarn I will be working with. So I will be talking about it more on future podcasts, like just how it's going. I will also be talking about the yarn as an acquisition separately on a regularly scheduled podcast. If you are looking for knitting podcasts, I know this is real late in the game to announce it, but I have a series of those. You can check them out. They're on my channel in like a specific playlist, and then you can watch whichever one you want or watch from the beginning. And yeah, it's just fun to knit when you have someone to knit with, kind of. Yeah, so I'm just really excited to have unboxed this yarn so I can get started on working up my design with it. And I am really excited for it. It's going to be kind of like, if you've seen like these vintage golf sweaters, like the cable knit ones with like the little contrast stripe, that's what I'm going for. But like a little bit more of a feminine fit, I think, to be kind of, I don't know, like a little bit more flattering on women, and then just more Christmassy to fit with Hobbie's theme. So I'm excited to see how that plays out, because I had like this rough sketch in my head and that I submitted to them, and obviously can tweak it around a bit and do some shaping and see how things work out. So I will definitely be providing you updates if you want to stick around and follow for more. I really hope you like this video. It is a bit out of the norm, and I am interested in knowing if you have ever bought yarn from Hobbii before, what you've made with it, how you liked it. Just let me know in the comments. And if you want to come over and say hi, I am over on Instagram and Ravelry and TikTok as The Stickachick. And you can also find me on my own website, thestickachick.com. Until next time, you guys, happy knitting!